Wednesday with the Incredible Lady TV. Now, we all know that we should be reading if we're planning on growing as people and growing as entrepreneurs and getting results in life and getting everything that we want out of life. You have to be reading, right? You have to be learning and growing constantly. And so we're doing these live videos every Wednesday focusing on one book. So the first book that I chose, Being a Home-Based Business Mompreneur, the video that I chose, or the book that I chose as number one, has been one of the most influential books, not only in my life, but in dozens, and I say dozens, it's probably hundreds, if not thousands, of entrepreneurs all over the world, including several presidents, which they are not technically entrepreneurs, but they do have a lot of power and pull in the real world. So thank you for tuning in to today's very first live video for Book of the Week Wednesday here on the Incredible Lady TV. And so the very first book, I know you're waiting, you're on the edge of your seat, the very first book that we chose is Think and Grow Rich. And this is by Napoleon Hill. I don't know if you can see that there. Yeah, there we go. Got the glare out of there. So Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Just a very influential book. In fact, there's testimonials all through this copy of presidents, entrepreneurs, millionaires, many influential, incredible people who changed the world with their influence and their impact, and were, you know, not only financially compensated for it, but also were able to influence the lives of others. So that is an incredible thing. And it's something that many of you, I know, have a dream to be able to accomplish some big things. So we're going to jump right here into the content. Are you ready for this? Book of the Week Wednesday, we're going to go through chapter by chapter through this book. And the one thing I love about Think and Grow Rich is by the end, you should have something that really just jumps out at you to be that one thing that you've really learned from the book. I mean, every book will teach you something, of course, but something is going to happen during this book, and it's going to just catapult your success. There is a statement in chapter 1 that I will share with you. Is at the very end of the chapter here. And he says that wealth, when it comes to you, is going to come in such an abundance that you wonder where it was hiding all these years, during all the dry years. And that's just paraphrase there. So let's jump right here into the content because I'm so excited. I know you're going to get some amazing things out of this. If you don't have a copy of this, it's pretty cheap on Amazon. I think it's like $6 or something like that. You can find it really cheap on Amazon. It's an incredible, influential book. Let's go. Thoughts are things. This is chapter 1. Thoughts are things. The Inventor and the Tramp. Now, this book was written in 1930, so there's some just incredible examples and stuff like that. But I love the way that author Napoleon Hill writes this book. It's written in like parables. So there are little stories that just really awaken your mind and get you to be thinking and retaining the information. There's stories that will stick with you for life and will change your current habits to make them into successful ones. Thoughts are things, The Inventor and the Tramp. This story is about Barnes and Edison. So everyone knows who Thomas Edison is, right? He's a famous inventor. Well, Barnes was a gentleman who wanted to work with Thomas Edison. And so he started thinking about, oh, I really want to work with, he had two big problems. He didn't know Thomas Edison, and he didn't have a whole heck of a lot of money, and who was he in the grand scheme of things? But he didn't just want to work for Edison. He wanted to work with him. And so what he did is he just jumped right in, stood in front of the man, told him what his goals and verbalized what he wanted, and then started working with Edison. Now, then out pops this opportunity. And so opportunity sometimes is like this weird, obscure thing. It might even look like some sort of a failure or flaw or something like that. But opportunity, you just got to keep your eyes open, because when you see it, you capitalize on it, and it makes all the difference in your goal. So what Barnes did is he worked with Edison, and then he just all of a sudden, Mr. Edison had this dictating machine, and none of the other inventors were really interested in it. They thought it was, you know, it was going to take a great deal to try to sell this to people and install it and all of that. And the only people that were really interested in this machine were Mr. Barnes and Edison. And so he jumped at this opportunity and began installing this machine in hundreds of homes all across the country. And it says here in the book, how much actual cash did that original desire of Barnes was worth to him? I have no way of knowing. Perhaps it brought him $2 or $3 million. But the amount, whatever it is, becomes insignificant when it's compared with the greater asset he acquired in the form of definite knowledge that an intangible impulse of thought can be transmuted into material rewards by the application of known principles. And so what he means there is Barnes literally thought himself into a partnership with the great Edison. He thought himself into a fortune. He had nothing to start with except the capacity to know what he wanted and the determination to stand by that desire until he realized it, until it actually happened for him. Okay, next we switch gears. So that is think. That the whole purpose of the book, Think and Grow Rich, thoughts are things. So if you're thinking about, man, this is going to be a really crappy day, guess what's going to happen to you? What's going to happen is you're not going to have a really great day. What happens if you're thinking, you know what, this is going to be an awesome day. I'm going to make some amazing things happen. Hey. I'm going to sign up 3 people in my business, or I'm going to get that contract that I really wanted, or today's just going to be an amazing day and everything's going to go my way. Well, guess what? If thoughts are things, that is what is going to happen for you. So keep that in mind. You have a gift to give the world that was born in you from the very beginning. Okay? And the way you attain that gift, the way you share that gift, the way you capitalize on that gift and live your fullest potential, one that's filled with joy, and, you know, money isn't everything. Think and Grow Rich. Money isn't everything, but it's an asset. It's a tool that will help you to have more impact. Can't help a whole heck of a lot of people if you don't have anything, right? Okay. 3 Feet from Gold. This is one of my favorite, and it talks about Darby, Mr. Darby. And he caught gold fever back in the gold days when the gold rush was happening. So he went and staked his claim in a gold mine in Montana. And they he staked a claim. They went to work with pick and shovel. He realized he had one of the richest mines, and I believe it was Colorado. And then he went back to Williamsburg, Maryland, which is like 2 hours away from me. Very exciting. Went back home and said, hey, we need the equipment to mine this gold. We have one of the wealthiest. So they put all their money together, all right, because they're going to go mine this gold. A lot of people, they're like, oh, what? You want me to join your business, but it's going to cost something? Guess what? He had one of the richest mines. And what did he have to do? He had to go home, and he had to spend a little bit of money so that he could get the gold out of the freaking mountain, okay? So if that's something that you encounter with a lot of people, oh, how am I going to get started in this business with you? How am I going to make money? Well, guess what? What you have is a gold mine. And it's the easiest way, if you're in home-based business, it's the easiest way for somebody to get started with a gold mine. All right? So he went home, they put together some money, and he got the equipment, and they went back up there, and they started drilling. Down went the drills, up went the hopes of Darby and Uncle. He's mining with his uncle. Then something happened. The vein of gold ore disappeared. They'd come to the end of the rainbow. The pot of gold was no longer there. They drilled on, desperately trying to pick up the vein again, to no avail. So what did they do? They quit. They went home. They sold the thousands of dollars worth of machinery that they paid off with the gold that they mined. They did bring in some gold, and they had a little bit, but it wasn't as much as they had dreamed. The richest mine in Colorado. Oh my goodness. So they sold it to a junk man and went on home. Well, the junk man knew that he needed to seek expert opinion before giving up, which is what he should have done, right? So what he does is he goes and he contacts a surveyor, and that surveyor says, you know what? Look at this. 3 feet into this rock, you pick up the gold mine again. The gold was sitting 3 feet behind some rocks. So they went on and on and on, drilling till no hope was left. They drilled and drilled and drilled. I mean, this is dirty work. They're dirty. They're sweaty. They're drilling. No, all the gold, it's gone. Oh, gosh, we're going to sell the equipment and head on home. Only to find out that the gold was 3 feet And that gentleman, that junk man, pulled hundreds of millions of dollars worth of gold out of that gold mine. Have you ever felt like giving up on something? You're like, man, I really, really wanted this, but it's just not working out. I'm sweaty, I'm dirty, I'm just, and it's just not working out. And you quit. Why would you quit? Why would you quit when it's just behind 3 feet? A lot of times, and a lot of successful entrepreneurs will tell you this, when it gets so hopeless that you're ready to quit, guess what? Those who persevere realize that the riches are on the other side of what they're doing there. They're all there. They're all there. You just got to hang on and keep rocking with it. It's right on the other side. It's right on the other side. Next story goes on to tell that Mr. Darby recouped his loss many times over when he made the discovery that the desire can be transmuted into gold. The discovery came after he went into the business of selling life insurance. So another form of recurring income is selling life insurance. So he went from mining gold into realizing that it can be attained in any way, shape, or form. So he lost his huge fortune after he stopped 3 feet from gold, and he decided, I'm not going to stop just because men say no. But where did that stop because men say no? Because here's another story that's really, I love this story. It's very exciting. 50-cent lesson in persistence. So you can't just not quit, okay? You got to be persistent as well. If you want what you want, you have to be persistent. There's no other more persistent person in the world than my son. And I swear, he's like our children. They're one of the most influential salesmen. They'll sell you on, hey, can we go to dinner here? 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 Why? Because they're persistent. And you're like, fine, we'll go to dinner there. Fine, no big deal. Just stop it. So, 50-cent lesson in persistence. And this is so great. Okay, so Mr. Darby was then, again, working with his uncle. His uncle had a great temper, but they were working in a mill, and he was using this big, heavy equipment, and they're just sitting there working, when a little girl walks in. She, walks in, stands in the doorway, and says, my mammy said to send me 50 cents. She needs 50 cents. And he said, I'll not do it. Love it, back in the day. I'll not do it. Next time somebody tells me to do something I don't want to do, I'm going to tell them, I'll not do it. So anyway, now you run on home. Yes, sir, the child replied, but she did not move. She stood there. She said, yes, I acknowledged you. Now this is back in the day when children were to be seen and not heard. They were to obey and do it immediately. You get my drift? So her being disobedient, and, they still spanked in school those days. So this man, he stands up with this big stick in his hand, this big piece of machinery in his hand, or equipment in his hand, and he walks towards the girl, and he's like, my uncle has a temper. I swear he's going to assault this little girl. He was bracing himself for it as he's watching this uncomfortable situation. The girl is standing there defiantly because she needs this 50 cents, and he's walking towards her. And right when he reaches that last step, the little girl finds this courage within her, and she stands forward and says, my mammy's gotta have that 50 cents. That's what it says, okay? I'm not just using the accent for fun. Is what it says. My mammy's got to have that 50 cents. At the top of her lungs, his shrill voice. Immediately, he dropped his thing on the floor, his piece of equipment that he was holding in the floor, reached into his pocket, grabbed 50 cents, and handed it to the little girl. And then he sat back on the barrel, looked out the window, because he just got defeated. She just told him who the boss was. No, but what was it? What was that secret that allowed this little girl who was to be seen and not heard, who was to do what she was told immediately in that day and age, to be able to triumph, to be able to succeed over top of a man that was, superior to her. He was older than her. He had higher stature than her in this day and age. What happened? What happened? It was persistence. This power that she stumbled over is just absolutely incredible. So it goes on to talk about how Mr. Darby goes on to sell millions of dollars in life insurance and live very comfortably, because every time that someone was willing to say, and those of us who do any kind of sales or any kind of networking or anything like that, we know, when somebody's like, well, I don't really have the time, and you're like, you watch TV like nobody's business. Oh, well, I don't really have the money. Come on, it's like $1. Oh, I don't really have trying to bow him out, okay? So anytime somebody tried to bow him out, he saw that little girl, and I encourage you to just dive into this text here and try to visualize what was happening with this little girl. And I want you to see her, because that's what he saw, and that's what helped him to become so successful. Not only did he learn, hey, don't give up, right, 2 yard lines away from the touchdown, don't give up 3 feet away from gold, and persist and find that courage. Every time somebody started to say no, which nobody ever uses the word no, they just give you a bunch of excuses. Anytime someone was trying to bow him out, he saw that little girl standing there and saying, Mammy's got to have that 50 cents, that courage. And he would make the sale because he saw that and he knew, and he would say in his mind, I've got to make this sale. And he would step forward and make it happen. And that's what you got to have, that little secret. Okay, so then it goes on to one sound idea is all you need. One sound idea is all that one needs to achieve success. The principles described in this book contain ways and means of creating useful ideas. Before we go any further in our approach in the description of these principles, we believe that you're entitled to receive this important suggestion. This is what I said at the very beginning. You ready for this? When riches begin to come, they come so quickly in such great abundance that one wonders, where have they been hiding during all of those lean years? It's an astounding statement, and all the more so when we take into consideration the popular belief that riches only come to those who work long and hard. When you begin to think and grow rich, you'll observe that riches begin with a state of mind, a definiteness of purpose, with little or no hard work. You and every other person ought to be interested in knowing how to acquire the state of mind which will attract riches. I spent 25 years in research because I too wanted to know how wealthy men become that way. What's the secret? You'll find out as we progress through this book. So it goes on to talk about the impossible Ford motor, where Napoleon Hill tells you, where he actually goes into his dictionary, finds the word impossible, and cuts it out. You need to cut that word out of your dictionary. Do not say it's impossible. Nothing is impossible. Get it out of there. You are the master of your fate, and principles that can change your destiny. I encourage you to pick up a book of this, because while we will be spending about 20 minutes going through the entire book, and you're going to pick up things through me going over the stories and the chapters that are found in this book, okay? And by the end of this series, you will have something so inert that it begins to catapult you into success. But you have to plug in, you have to watch, and why not go ahead and get this book? You can also find it on YouTube. I believe you can listen to it. Just, go to YouTube and search Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, Chapter 1. Listen along with the chapter, and then you too can tune in and message and talk about what was your favorite part of this. And that's what I'd like to know now. What was your favorite part of this portion of our series? What was your favorite story? How can you apply it to your life, and how did it help you? Thank you for tuning in today, and I will see you. Book of the Week Wednesdays are going to be every Wednesday at 2:30, which is Chinese toothache time. And we'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much. Talk to you then.